I've been working at this movie theater for 3 years now, and I've already come to understand that the rules here go a bit beyond normal. Actually, to tell the truth, they're just downright insane. But you'll see that for yourself. Let me start with a little backstory. My name is Sean. I'm 21 years old. I've been working here for 3 years. There are 2 reasons why I haven't quit, even after realizing how twisted this place really is. First, not every employer will hire a high school graduate with an unresolved drug possession charge. It just so happened that early on I made a few wrong decisions, and although I've been staying on the straight path ever since, my whole life will always be haunted by their consequences. Second, my job, checking tickets, cleaning auditoriums between showings, and making sure every screening runs smoothly, usually pays minimum wage, if you're lucky. But they pay me the same salary as a mid-level manager elsewhere. And even then, considering what I have to deal with every day, that salary becomes much less tempting. But that's not what you're here for. You're here for the stories, and I won't disappoint you. So here they are, the rules of my movie theater.
Rule number 1, never open the doors of Auditorium 3 after the movie has started. Sounds simple, right? But the rule, and the circumstances under which I almost broke it, were the first signs that this place is absolutely, categorically wrong. Even knowing about the rule, you will feel tempted to go inside. Or rather, the thing living in there will try to trick you any way it can. You might hear noises from inside, or someone calling you, begging you to open the door, but you must never, ever do it. The first time I encountered Auditorium 3, I almost threw myself at the door. It was just a week after I started. Of course, I had read the rules and they seemed strange, but I didn't ask my coworkers anything. I really needed this job, and if following a couple of bizarre rules was the price, then so be it. I was cleaning the lobby that connects to all the auditorium doors when I heard it, the knocking coming from inside Auditorium 3. I rushed over. Something was happening in there. I could sense it. A thin stream of smoke was rising from under the door. The knocking grew stronger, as if someone was pounding with their fists. The handle shook violently, rattling as someone desperately tried to get out.
"Who's there?" I shouted, pressing my ear to the wood. "Let us out! Help us!" a terrified woman's voice answered from inside. Along with her cries, I heard something else, a whistle, like wind rushing through a tunnel. It took me a second to understand what that sound was. Fire. "There's a fire in there," I thought. "The door's jammed. These people are burning alive." "You have to let us out!" the woman screamed. Black, acrid smoke rolled out from under the door, stinging my throat. I coughed uncontrollably. The pounding intensified. "Please, let us out!" I grabbed the door handle. I wasn't thinking about the rules anymore. Who cares about rules when people are dying? A hand clamped around my elbow from behind. I nearly jumped out of my skin, but it was only David, the manager. I'd talked to him only once before, calm, detached, almost cold. But now his face looked deadly serious.
Rule number 1, David said quietly. Always remember rule number 1. "David, there's a fire. The door's stuck. We have to get them out," I yelled. "A fire," he repeated with a slight smile. "Clever." Then his expression hardened again. "There is a reason for every rule on that list. Leave Auditorium 3 alone." I could hardly believe my ears. The woman screamed again, choking on smoke. "Sean, please, help me! I can't breathe! Let us out!" David chuckled. "See, she knows your name." I froze. I hadn't told her my name. I looked back at the door. No smoke, no pounding. Carefully, I tapped the surface with my knuckles. No answer.
David placed a hand on my shoulder. "Listen carefully, Sean," he said patiently. "Auditorium 3 must always remain closed during a screening, no matter what. In 20 minutes, the movie will end and everyone will walk out safe. I promise." "But I heard her," I whispered. "I saw the smoke." "You saw what it wanted you to see," David said. "Auditorium 3 will do anything to make you open that door. For 13 years, it hasn't succeeded, and it's not going to start on my watch." He gently pulled me away from the door. 20 minutes later, the movie ended, the doors opened, and a crowd of perfectly fine people walked out. I checked the auditorium afterwards. No fire, no smoke, nothing.
Grave and matter-of-fact, with a subtle undertone of dark humor and ominous awareness. Delivery, natural, brisk, and flowing conversational pace. Ensure varied rhythm and natural intonation without being overly dramatic or monotonous. Emphasize key words and phrases for impact, as a human would, without stretching or artificial pauses. Voice, human-like. Experienced, mature male. Conveys a sense of urgency, hidden danger, and ironic detachment. Rule number 2. If you see a costumed character leading children out of the lobby, notify the manager immediately. You know that movie theaters sometimes hire actors in costumes to promote films, like when a new Star Wars movie comes out and the lobby fills with stormtroopers hyping up the crowd. I hated that stuff, even before I started working here. One of my first jobs was at a rundown amusement park, sweating inside a mascot costume that hadn't been washed in years. So yeah, giant costumes are not my thing. Rule number 2 is still a mystery to me. I've only encountered it once, and I'm still not sure what really happened, but it makes for a great and horrifying story. It happened during the premiere of Avengers: Infinity War. The manager hired several cosplayers to walk around the lobby and take photos with guests. Despite my hatred for those costumes, I ignored them. What I didn't ignore was the fact that David gathered all the employees and forced us to memorize a list of every hired superhero. He was adamant we had to know them by heart. The list wasn't long. I still remember it.
Captain America, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Thor. I knew something was wrong when I walked out of an auditorium and saw someone dressed as Iron Man slowly wandering toward the trash compactor room. Up close, I realized something was very, very off. The once expensive costume was ruined, filthy, scratched, pieces dangling loose. And the smell, God, like a corpse left in the sun. But the worst part was the thick, dark brown ooze seeping from the gaps in the armor. Viscous, foul, almost like syrup. My heart sank when I noticed the children following him. 3 of them, no older than 13. Eyes unfocused, blindly trailing behind the reeking Iron Man. The incident with Auditorium 3 had taught me the rules mattered. I sprinted to David's office, burst in, and shouted, "Rule number 2, Iron Man is leading kids to the trash room." David shot up so fast his chair crashed to the floor. "Damn it, I should have thought of that."
He yanked open a drawer and rummaged through it. I caught a glimpse of a vial filled with clear liquid and a long, jagged, bronze-like knife before he stuffed them into his pockets. He shoved a crumpled paper into my hand. "Don't let anyone into the trash room. No one. If I'm not back in 30 minutes, pull the fire alarm and evacuate the building. Then call the number on that paper." No time for questions. He ran. We barely made it. Iron Man was already a few meters from the door, children still trailing behind. David sprinted, flung the trash room door open, grabbed the actor, and hurled him inside. Then he jumped in after him and slammed the door shut. The kids stood there for a moment. then shook uncontrollably like puppets tugged by broken strings. They looked around, confused, trembling, and then they cried. I'd bet anything they didn't even know how they got there. 23 minutes later, David emerged, his once clean shirt covered in red stains. The stench on him was awful. He looked exhausted. "Clean it up, Sean. If you find anything unusual, not in a trash bag, don't touch it. Just tell me." The trash room was wrecked. Dark slime splattered across the floor, walls, even the ceiling. In the corner sat a few black plastic bags. A wet, foul puddle seeped out from underneath them.
Grave and matter-of-fact, with a subtle undertone of dark humor and ominous awareness. Delivery, natural, brisk, and flowing conversational pace. Ensure varied rhythm and natural intonation without being overly dramatic or monotonous. Emphasize key words and phrases for impact, as a human would, without stretching or artificial pauses. Voice, human-like, experienced, mature male. Conveys a sense of urgency, hidden danger, and ironic detachment. Rule number 3. If a man with a tattoo on his left cheek asks for something from Lost and Found, don't give him anything. I've never encountered this one myself, but I do have a story about it. After the incident with rule number 2, David warmed up to me. I think he simply trusted me more. I proved I understood the rules weren't a joke. Rule number 3 intrigued me. One day before a shift, I finally gathered the courage to ask David about it. "Could you tell me more about rule number 3? I asked. David smirked. "Curious, huh? Fine." He dug through a drawer and handed me a set of yellowed papers clipped together. "Read these on your break. They should satisfy your curiosity." I did exactly that. During my break, I sat in the locker room and started reading. Just a few newspaper clippings. The first one was from decades ago.
Horrifying triple murder. Family slaughtered in their home. Only survivor speaks out. The article described a gruesome crime scene. Only a 13-year-old boy survived, found tied up in the living room next to the mutilated bodies of his parents and older sister. The killer left behind an umbrella. According to the boy, his mother had forgotten that umbrella earlier that week at a local movie theater. Manager David, named partially redacted, told the reporter that the umbrella had been taken from the Lost and Found by a stranger with a tattoo on his face the day before the murder. The police suspected that man, but were never able to find him. The next 2 articles were from 12 and 5 years ago. More mass murders. One mentioned a Lost and Found item again, another didn't, but David had scribbled in pencil, "The same man. Need to include in rules." The last document scared me the most. It wasn't even an article, just a printed image of an ancient archive page. Hard to make out, but the headline was clear. Horror behind the curtain. London theater shuts down amid crime wave. Mysterious killer claims rights to lost items. On top of the page, someone had written, "London, 1899.